Good evening, everybody. I think that's the first time I've said good evening on this show. Welcome to another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown. I'm your host, Crystal, and this is the 9 o'clock Meltdown podcast. And once again, gracing the sound wave, I have Rachel Babcock over the phone. Rachel, you've been on the show before. I think last we spoke about the book that you were writing, just kind of your little bit of an autobiography, a little bit of a memoir, but it was about your mom and kind of all the lessons that she had taught you throughout your life and your childhood. And now you're back. You actually have a consulting business that you just launched not that long ago. Hello, how are you?
Yes, hi. Thanks for having me, Crystal.
Yes, of course, of course. And like we were saying earlier, the stars weren't quite aligning up, but now they have. Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about you.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. And yes, I'm still writing a little bit, but my bread and butter has always been human resources, so I'm excited about the new company I was able to start, and I am consulting with some great companies, so it's been really fun.
Excellent, excellent. So now, in the realm of consulting, like I've had my own fair share of dealings with consultants, and I've dabbled in being a consultant myself. Now, with consulting, how did that start for you? I mean, it's not like you wake up one day and you're like, I want to be a consultant. Let's jump on this.
Yeah, so I was always working for corporate, not my own business at all or consulting. I was in human resources. So I worked in education, and then I moved to healthcare. So the last corporate company I worked for was Health East, who is no longer, unfortunately. But I worked in HR there. And so since I worked there, I had left for raising kids. So that was a great part of my life where I was home with my boys. And then I had to think about what I wanted to do next, if I wanted to go back full-time to corporate America, or if I wanted something that would fit my lifestyle of being a mom a little bit better. And one of my former bosses actually does some consulting. And so he brought me in on consulting projects, and that was super fun. And so I still work with him a little bit, and then I decided I kind of want to do that more full-time in the future. So I started my own consulting company, and that's Rachel B Company, and I have my website, rachelbcompany.com, but through there I get clients, and right now I'm still home with my boys part-time, so I'm only doing part-time consulting, but in the future, when they go to school, I can definitely amp it up to full time. And so that's how I kind of decided that, though. It was based on the lifestyle. And I think right now is a great time to do that because of all the remote positions, and more and more companies are wanting just remote employees to handle some projects and work. So it's been really good.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Absolutely fabulous. And now, Rachel, kind of what does consulting really look like? I mean, in my personal experience, companies will reach out to someone outside their company, completely outside their company, and kind of bring them in and ask them their opinions, get some feedback, some information from them. Sometimes that person will kind of sit with the company for maybe a month or two and kind of coach them along. What does kind of consulting look like for you?
Yeah, so sometimes it's a one-off project. So if it's a data-driven thing, or they just need some extra hands for this one project, or again, some insight from a third party, so they do just want to talk to you and consult with you on some issues, that can be more of a one-off thing where it's, oh yes, I can talk to you for a couple weeks and help you through this project, and then I move on to a different client. But my biggest clients, they actually keep me on month by month. So I'll usually start out maybe on a 3-month contract to help them with things. And then like my current client just extended the contract, so they can extend after that. So if it's a bigger project, like recently there's been some COVID-19 projects happening, and companies are trying to navigate that with their employees, all of the requirements around COVID-19 vaccines. So those are kind of longer term projects. So I've been staying on a little bit longer to work with them. And what that kind of looks like is you're kind of functioning as an employee. So you get to join their teams, and people know you in the company because you're logging in all the time, and they send you a computer with all of their information so that you can really act as kind of an extension of their employee workforce. And then eventually they'll let you go and they don't need your services anymore. But yeah, so that's what it kind of looks like for me, is I'm either kind of on board with their employees for a longer period, or it's just kind of a one-off project.
Yeah, fabulous, fabulous. So you're more in the realm of HR consulting. And like I said, my kind of experience with consulting was, oh, we'll bring in this marketing consultant to kind of help us out with a flyer or something. So what does the HR kind of side look like? I mean, when most people think of HR, they get, the red flags and the, oh no, it's HR, the dreaded office corporate area. That's not it at all. I have a generalist in HR, but anyway, I digress. So what does that kind of look like for you? I mean, is it more on the, there's a spat going on and you have to resolve it? Is it more of, really now that COVID-19 is sadly still with us, is it kind of navigating where employees need to be delegated to? What does that really look like right now?
Yeah, so what's exciting about HR, and when I got into human resources after college, that was kind of the notion too, is that, oh, it's all the paper pushers or something like that. But that's really far from the truth. HR leads all employee decisions. So it's really an exciting place to be, actually, and you're a thought partner, and you get to really direct the company to success, because their employees are what make the company successful. So if you are handling employee issues well, then your company is going to be successful. So I really enjoy that part of it, and I do get to work with so many companies now being consultants. So that's really fun, where I'm not tied down to just knowing one company's culture or their issues, but I really get a hand in many different kinds of cultures. And so what that looks like for me is I am a thought partner on something. So companies will pull me in, and sometimes there is a big issue, like an organization issue. So they don't think their departments are functioning well. Their employees are maybe in the wrong position. So it takes a lot of thought partnering and strategizing. And sometimes I'll come up with plans for them on how to reorganize their departments and what could make their employees more successful. And oftentimes with these kind of projects, they do want you to do some of the burden of, either letting employees go or whatnot. If they think there may be some retaliation, that can be a point to bring in a consultant, so that it's a third party neutral. And it's not like, oh, my boss is, calling me in and telling me these things. Sometimes a consultant can be helpful to say this is all from a third party.
Right.
But yeah, and with COVID, it's definitely it's new ground cover for companies. They have never dealt with this before, so they really do need as many thoughts as possible on the issues, and having someone with experience in other companies can really help to say, here's what I've seen in other places. So so it's actually really exciting, and I think navigating this pandemic with companies and trying to figure out how their workforce can best function and how the company can be successful with whatever requirements they have to have in place is really good.
Yeah. And the point that I was going to bring up, like on the artist side of things, now we're jumping to the other end of the spectrum, but I promise there's a point here. There's been a lot of shows and a lot of shows and kind of back and forth and things like that. And it's all done digitally now, either through Zoom or Facebook or email or what have you. Is that kind of where things are going with the HR side of things as well? I mean, do you meet face to face? Do you do more Zoom calls than anything else? Are you more active on the email side? Kind of what does that look like in your daily routine?
So it definitely depends on the client or what the project is. If it's kind of a quick one-off for someone personally, like I'm just working with kind of one manager at a company, it'll be FaceTime and things like that, and email, and I still stick with kind of my own business email and stuff like that. But with those projects that are longer term, they always set me up with all of their stuff, so I get their company email and everything as a consultant, and my title is just business consultant for them. And they usually use Teams, so a lot of companies just plug you into their Teams network, and that's where all the chats happen with employees or with your coworkers, at the company, and you can video through Teams. So it's been a lot of Teams with my clients, but otherwise it's whatever I have on hand, so my own cell phone and things, and using FaceTime with my client. So
yeah, it almost kind of sounds like this has been very very beneficial for you, just being able to stay in your home and kind of almost work
Yes.
from home in a way. I think it's really cool. I kind of like it, honestly.
Yeah. I know I'm kind of living the dream a little bit.
Right, right.
I get to have a variety of projects as I bounce around, and I can stay in my own home. And I was in Minnesota with you, Crystal, but now I'm actually in Kansas. So I'm in small town Kansas, and
Ooh.
I'm having clients still from Minnesota and stuff. So it's actually, this remote world is super beneficial.
Yes.
Where I'm not in a big city anymore, and I can still consult remotely. So.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, congratulations to moving to a warmer state. I don't know.
I know. It's really nice this winter.
Oh, I bet. We've started to get into winter here, and every year everybody grumbles, including myself, but we gotta plow through because spring is coming. It'll be here
Yes.
in 9 months. It'll be here.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But Rachel, you had mentioned that you got into human resources after you graduated college. Did you go to college for human resources? Was that something that you were always interested in?
Oh, great question. No. So I did my undergrad in nonprofit management and marketing. And I always thought I would work for just a nonprofit, doing maybe marketing for them, because I do have that other side of myself where I write and do some other projects with the more artsy side of marketing and writing. But that's what I wanted to do after undergrad. But then I actually just wound up being in a position where I was working for the university that I was attending, and I got grad school for very cheap. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll go to grad school then. And trying to figure out what I wanted to go to grad school for was really difficult. And one of my mentors had mentioned human resources because she thought it really matched a lot of skills I had. And so I kind of looked into human resources at that time and had taken a couple classes in undergrad and really liked what their program was about. And then I explored it as a career and really liked it. So then I was like, yeah, I'll just get my master's in human resources. So I kind of just made that decision before going to grad school, and I did my entire master's in human resources and just loved it. And so that was kind of where my career path wound up then after graduate school, was in HR.
Yeah. Oh, fabulous. And Rachel,
Yeah.
I mean, for a little bit of background on the both of us, we graduated high school together, and you've always been really even keel, like just super straightforward, like, yep, this is how it's going to be. But you come at it in such a sweet, kind way. I mean, no one could
Thank you.
ever be angry at you. So I totally think HR is definitely your faux pas.
Yeah, thanks. I never thought of it that way, but that is true. I can say things very nicely.
See, an outside opinion coming in. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely helps me more than it hurts me to be kind.
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. And now I have my human resource generalist certificate. A very far cry from having my master's, and it's years old. I let it lapse. But anyway, side note here. So with human resources, for people that don't quite grasp it, I mean, it's a lot more than being the scary back office of the corporate world.
Yes.
You're in charge kind of the employees, but not in the way of like hours and pay and things like that, but you're an advocate for employees and, helping them out and helping them reach their goals. Do companies ever kind of bring you in for that sort of thing, or is that mostly done internally?
Yeah, so no, there is consultant work, and I worked actually in corporate in this area, so I hope to do consulting work in this area too. So far, my business is relatively new, just a couple years old, so I haven't had clients in talent management, but there is an area of talent management and development, and I worked for a couple years full time in that area, and that's really where you are developing the employees and helping them out, and trying to train them, and I really am passionate about that too. So that is definitely an area of human resources, but any project you have is to help the employee and make the company successful. So there have been projects with that in mind, of saying what's the best goals that I can set for my employees, to reach whatever goal the company has. So so it's definitely that's the bread and butter of work, is to say, how do we make the employees function and help the company be successful too. But if I know you got your generalist degree, and if anyone else is interested in the degree in human resources, depending where you work, so I've worked in both kinds of places, but you either kind of do everything. So you usually have a payroll office that does payroll. You don't have to handle that. But I've been a specialist where I literally touch everything from employee development to hiring them to onboarding them to, corrective action for them to just everything.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. But then the flip side is I've also worked as well where you have a department for everything. So, you can choose where you want to go. And that's where I was in talent development. But, they have benefits people. They have kind of the business partner human resources section. So it really is. I mean, HR just makes up so much of your company, because a lot of companies have many departments full of HR people divided into sections. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think actually now I can attest to that. I work for Caribou Coffee now, and they have, so when you write to HR, I mean, whatever it's going to be, you have to pick what department it's going to, and they've got like 6 different departments, and it's corporate, it's down in Minneapolis. And on a personal note, I had never seen that before. I had worked, either for nonprofits or very small, companies, kind of self-contained companies, where it was just one HR person who also did payroll, who also did, onboarding and hiring and reprimand and all these different things. But now I'm with a very international company, and they're like, oh yeah, just send them an email, they'll get back to you. And I'm like, what?
yes, definitely.
Yeah. So Rachel, you worked full-time in human resources, both in corporate and kind of in the all over kind of sector. Do you ever work with nonprofits or anything like that? Or has your main focus been in kind of the, dare I say, corporate America?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of clients in healthcare. So, I mean, technically, a lot of them function as nonprofit, but so I do a lot of work in healthcare. I have yet to have a client that's like a small nonprofit, which I actually really want to do sometime. So, and I haven't marketed myself very much because I just kind of took on part-time work. I was doing even less before because I was home with my kids. So this really is a new business where I've been blessed with clients coming my way without doing much marketing, just because of people I know and hearing about me. So I haven't had to do much work with putting myself out there. This show might help me, but yeah. So I eventually I will probably reach out to some smaller nonprofits, because I did my undergrad in that, and I love helping kind of the small nonprofit succeed. So
yes, definitely. I can attest to that with your personality and what I know of you, Rachel. Definitely. That's really exciting. Let's jump into your company. Now, you don't necessarily wake up one morning and say, I want to venture out on my own and start my own company. It sounds like it was a very gradual process for you. Can you take me through that process?
Yeah. So, like I said, I was home with my kids and I wasn't working anymore because my husband and I made the decision that I would just stay home while they were babies, which I'm so appreciative of, because I did not miss a moment, good or bad.
Yeah.
So during that time where I was just being a mom, I just really had to think about, do I want to go back full time and try to find daycare for them and everything else, or should I start the seeds of doing something on my own? And while I was just thinking about that, that's where I kind of got pulled into some consulting work with a partner. And that was just really awesome. I hadn't really thought about starting my own company, or even necessarily doing HR consulting on my own. I was just like, I wonder if there's something I could do from home. And I was thinking more I'd have to get plugged in to be an employee of a company somewhere and get work that I could do from home sometimes part-time. But yeah, once I was consulting with a partner and doing some projects that way, that just really opened my eyes to see that I wanted to do that too. And I still get some projects from him, but he has his own company. So I just wanted to start my own thing where I could, get my own clients in and everything on my own time. So that's where I decided to start my own consulting company. And I have some contacts who needed help and everything. So it just really kind of took off right when I started it with getting some jobs in. So
yeah. And Rachel, you said something that I have heard dozens and dozens of times before. It's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know.
Yes, absolutely. The power of networking.
Yes,
sure.
yes, the power of networking is amazing. I myself can attest to that in different parts of my life. Sounds like you can attest to it as well. For those who don't quite understand the grasp of networking or how to do it, what advice would you have to give?
Yeah, so start early. Like if you're in college, start making contacts with people even your classmates. So I went to business school. It was Carlson School of Management at the U of M. So it's one of the top business schools, and that's what they drilled into me was you need to network. And I wasn't very good when I was in undergrad college at it. I was just like, oh, that's kind of uncomfortable. I don't even know what I'm going to do for my job, so I don't necessarily know how to network. But I suggest getting mentors. I had a couple good mentors who led me through some big decisions in my life, and I'm still in contact with them. But I just suggest getting mentors right away in college if you're at that point in your life, or if you're out of college and you're older, you're an adult and you're in a job and you might want to switch careers, start finding people who are in the career you think you might want to be in. So for me, I kind of knew right away I was going to be in HR. So I've always kind of, since grad school, have been in the HR world. So, but every boss I've had, I've kept in contact with for the most part. And that's been really beneficial. Or just, friends I have who are in the same field, I keep in contact. And so like eventually down the road, when I started my own business, I could call on those people, or once they found out I had a business, they're in my field, so they had work for me. So
right.
So that's my best advice: just start early or whenever you can. Just like tomorrow, if you didn't do it yesterday, do it tomorrow. So.
Right, very true. And for me, myself, I went to school for art, but I knew in order to make myself marketable, I had to have a variety of skill sets. So, granted, I went to school for art, but I have a generalist certificate. I have a managing leading nonprofit certificate, and I've just kind of compounded those certificates from there, just to make yourself even more marketable and kind of put yourself ahead of the game almost. But yes, that network and those people that you learn from or you work with or whatever definitely come in hand down the road.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, you can't be afraid to reach out. I think LinkedIn is a great tool, and that's where a lot of people go if they're just like, oh, I'm interested in marketing, and I don't have any experience. Like, see who your third contact is, on LinkedIn, and you have friends of friends on there. And Crystal, I don't have any social media anymore, but I do have LinkedIn.
Oh,
so
all right.
I've kept that because that is where you can really just see where people work. And I think that was told to me when I was a college student as well, is to, if you find a name, like reach out, and you can't be afraid to do that. And when I start needing full-time work with my HR business, and maybe the clients will stop coming to me, I will definitely be doing that. I'll just be finding who is in the sectors I want to work in, and get some names maybe from LinkedIn and start emailing or start contacting them, because I think most people are willing to help you, and most people are willing to talk shop with you. And if you're in the marketing world and you want advice from them, I think they'll be happy to give it to you for the most part. So.
Oh, definitely. I can attest to that tenfold. I mean, that's how I've met most of my friends, actually.
Yeah.
It's just kind of going out awesome. and asking questions, or, granted, I'm talking more in the art realm rather than the HR realm, but, it's going out and it's being present. And whether that's through an email or, social media nowadays, or, with the networking that we had going on before COVID hit, it's making that net for yourself and for other people too. I mean, you can be the good connector for other people as well. And that's something that I really enjoy doing, is kind of connecting people and showcasing people. So Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the show again and talking shop with me.
Yes, of course. Anytime, Crystal. It's always my pleasure.
Yes, fabulous. Let's talk about the name a little bit. Rachel B Company. I love the name. It's got a really great flow to it.
Thank
Kind
you.
of sticks in your head right then and there. How did you come up with that? Was that a process in itself?
Yes, so many lists crumpled up and thrown in the garbage.
Oh,
Yes, coming up with a company name, I think, is like the hardest part of starting your company. Is like, what am I going to name the thing? Yeah, so I just wrote down a bunch of ideas and then had to Google them to make sure they weren't taken by someone and all of that kind of stuff to see what's unique and what kind of encompasses what I want to do. And I had all these like things with consulting in the name or HR, in the name. But I actually, like I've told you, I mean, I'm still on that book, but I'm writing a book, and I have, sometimes I do a few jobs here and there on the writing end of things. So I've done website language and stuff like that. And, so I'm not just HR consulting in my business. So if I ever want to expand to more outside of HR or encompass more things, I just wanted to leave it open. So that's kind of where I was like, I need a general name. And so company just kind of stuck out to me. And I know just lots of brands have just kind of nice, shorter things with company at the end. And I think of the giant like makeup brand that actually stuck in my head when I was coming up with my company name. It's just Honest Company. And so that's a big Target brand. But I just loved like the simplicity of it. Like they can do anything they want. And it's just, it kind of encompasses what they're about, which is like clean makeup. So they're Honest Company. But I was like, my name is kind of what my business is. It's me. You're getting me when I consult for you.
Right,
so I just used my name and added company at the end, and that's kind of how I came up with it. But I think it takes a lot of meditation and a lot of writing it down to see how it looks, and then figuring out if it's actually unique and that you can use it.
Oh yeah. Or, sometimes it'll just happen out of a circumstance. That's what happened with me and the 9 o'clock meltdown. But
yeah, how did you get your name?
so originally I had gone with Crimson Clear Productions, and I had rocked that for about 5-6 years. And even that was kind of a fluke and a half. I was still in college at the time getting my bachelor's, and I was thinking like, what do I want, to be called? What I was really quite serious about launching a photography company. What do I want to perpetuate? And I've always loved the color red, and I think crimson is a really beautiful color. But then I had all my friends were saying, oh, call it crystal clear, ah ha 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 ha, like the drink. And I'm like, no. And then I just kind of shot the two together, Crimson Clear Productions. However,
I like it.
Kind of just throughout time and things like that, and having a lot of failures, learning failures though, I mean good learning failures, I just decided to kind of let it go and let it fade out, because it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to perpetuate forward. I'm not a production company. I'm a one-stop shop. So then I just really hit it hard with just the 9 o'clock meltdown, and that's what it is. It's 9 o'clock meltdown photography, or it's the 9 o'clock meltdown show.
Yes.
And to get to your point, I do apologize, long-winded story here, but it was a project that I was on. I went to school for video, so basically I can make movies. And the teacher paired me with one of the top students, because I was not a very good student. Like, I can get it, but my papers, come back just dripping in red ink and blah, blah, blah. I am more of I do it my way and will reach the same course kind of person.
Totally understandable.
And that's not necessarily what teachers want to see. So he had me paired with one of the top students, and one evening we're at the radio station, and I had been very heavily into radio, and I was about to launch my show, and my show started at 9 o'clock. That's when I was allowed to jump on air and take over the airwaves. And previous to that, I had just been having little mini panic attacks and freakouts because this project's due. I still don't know what I'm doing for it. I haven't written an outline. I haven't even started a script. Like, I don't even know where to begin. And my friend Jake, hi Jake, turns to me and goes, "You're not going to have another meltdown, are you?"
Oh, funny.
And the 9 o'clock meltdown was born.
And it was born.
And it was born.
So funny. That is a great story. that company name had some depth.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Definitely. So, what I'm getting at is inspiration and whatever else you're looking for sometimes just falls in your lap. But
Yes, absolutely. I think your name of your company has to be personal. I mean, you have to be okay with it and love it when you see it. So.
right. Yep. And with Crimson Clear Productions, it just got to be too long. You know,
Yes,
writing
right.
out email after email and like, this is how you contact me, blah, blah, blah. It just got to be too long for me to type. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's why I shortened my name too. It's just Rachel B Company because it needs to be short and
Yep. Something
and
memorable.
able to be written on a business card. So.
Exactly. Needless to say, my old business cards didn't really fit.
Yeah.
So I've got stuff on two different lines and then over on the side, and yeah, just got to be ridiculous. But Rachel, this is absolutely fabulous. What are you open to taking clients now? Kind of what does your client base look like? I know you said you're working more with the HR side of things, more kind of with hospitals at the moment. But are you open to taking new clients?
Yes, so I am always open to inquiries and everything. It depends on the project and how much time I have at the moment. But I love talking to new clients, and if it's not right now based on your project, it might be in just 1 month. So sometimes, sometimes I can put you on my list. So I would absolutely love to talk to clients, and I am open to new ones. So
yeah,
definitely
fabulous.
reach out to me. I have all my contact info on my website, rachelbcompany.com. And so there is a form to schedule a consulting meeting with me for 30 minutes, so we can just talk about your project, or you could send me an email right there. So.
All right, fabulous. Rachel, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and busy schedule and life to talk with me in the wider world about Rachel B Company Consulting. This is absolutely amazing. It's so good to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Crystal. It was great talking with you.
Of course, Rachel. Have a wonderful day, a great holiday season. I need to say that now, don't I? It's the end of November. All right.
Yes, happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays, definitely. All right, Rachel B with the Rachel B Company. She's a consultant. You can reach out to her anytime, and she'll help you out with whatever you got.
Yes, definitely.
All
I look
right.
forward to hearing from anyone out there.
All right, fabulous. Have a wonderful evening.
You too, Crystal. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.